Hey guys, welcome to Series World. Today I'm going to explain a romance drama series called Maxton Hall from 2024. Turn on subtitles and spoilers ahead. The 6th episode opens with Ruby getting up and ready for the interview. She carefully goes downstairs trying to avoid meeting James. While roaming around the campus, she bumps into the senior she met the previous day. She also meets Lynn, and the senior introduces himself to them as Jude. Meanwhile, Cyril and James's other friends are also ready for the interview. James and Lydia are confident that they'll get accepted without even trying. Meanwhile, Jude is instructing students on what kind of questions they will be asked in the interview and how they should answer them. Ruby and Lynn are very focused on what Jude is saying. They are then led to a room, and everyone sits down. James also comes in after Ruby, and Ruby catches a glance at him. The first person called for the interview is Ruby. As she's leaving, James catches her hand and tells her good luck. Jude asks her if she's nervous. Obviously, she is nervous, but Jude assures her that he was 10 times more nervous than her. Ruby and James both excel in the interview. After the interview, Ruby bumps into Jude again, and he asks her about the interview. Although he can guess that it went well from her expression, he tells them to come to the tavern at 8 p.m. to celebrate in the Oxford style. The scene changes to Lynn, Ruby, and Jude entering the tavern. Ruby notices that James and his friends are already there. Ruby is enjoying her time there, but James seems miserable. Lydia is also in a bad mood. Cyril offers her a drink, but she refuses and leaves. Ruby turns around to see what James is doing, but goes back to her conversation with Jude. Ruby starts feeling down, so she goes outside for some fresh air when she meets Lydia. Lydia seems sick and upset. Ruby sits down beside her and asks if something is wrong. Lydia tells her that she hasn't gotten her period for 2 months. Lydia's hand is on her belly, and Ruby understands what that means. Lydia explains that Sutton is the man she loves the most in her life, and even though it would be absurd for her to keep the baby, she has fallen in love with it too. Ruby assures her that even with a child, Lydia can excel in her studies. If anyone can do this, it's Lydia. Lydia now understands why James is so hung up on Ruby, because Ruby makes it feel like everything is possible. Ruby is confused because they broke up. Lydia tells her that James broke up because he had no other choice, but he is miserable now because of it. Ruby goes back to the tavern and sees that Lydia is telling the truth. James's expression doesn't seem happy. Rather, he looks very upset and depressed. At night, Ruby is tossing and turning in her bed. She puts her ear to the door to see if she can hear any noise coming from James, but she doesn't hear anything, so she goes back to bed. It's now 6 a.m., and Ruby has gotten absolutely no sleep. But today is also an important day because it's the second round of interviews. Lynn assures her that she'll do fine this round too, but that's when they see a girl running out of the interview room sobbing. Now it's Ruby's turn to be interviewed. This time, the interviewers don't seem so friendly. They ask her a tricky question for the first one. Even though Ruby tries to keep her calm and give a good answer, they tell her to try again, and she starts panicking. The scene cuts to Lydia. Cyril comes up to her to ask how she's doing and why she left the party like that. Lydia tells him that it was nothing and she just needed some rest. Lydia's attention goes to the mother and daughter duo sitting on a bench in front of her. Cyril keeps talking, but Lydia doesn't hear a single thing. After he calls her multiple times, she focuses on him. Lydia asks Cyril if change is a good thing. According to Cyril, it depends on the change. Lydia now gets it. Now we see Alistair picking up a flower and sitting next to James to have a chat. He tells James that he's frustrated with his boyfriend Keshav because he is refusing to come out to his parents and is now forcing himself to be someone he's not. James argues that sometimes people don't have choices, but Alistair thinks that people always have choices. They can either choose to fight or let go. They then go back to the room where other students have gathered for the Q&A session. Jude is also there to assist them. James decides to sit in the seat next to Ruby, but Jude gets there before him and sits down, so James sits somewhere else. The session starts, and everything is going smoothly until James starts showing his arrogant attitude toward Jude. Ruby gets furious seeing this and says some really harsh words to James. By the time she stops, everyone is shocked by what just happened. Ruby realizes this and runs out of the room. She runs back to her dorm and James follows her. James tells her that everything she said about him is right. He is always pushed around by his parents, and in this process, he hurt her. He's afraid to do what he wants because no one is interested in what he wants. Ruby tells him that she is interested in what he wants. She comes closer to him, and slowly they start kissing. Soon this accelerates, and now they're in Ruby's bed making out. But while Ruby can feel his skin on hers, she keeps thinking about how James told her that he would not date someone like her. Ruby pushes James away. and asks why he did what he did. James finally tells her that he had no other choice because his dad threatened to ruin her life if he didn't listen. Ruby finally understands but tells him that she's not afraid of his dad. James comes closer, and they're now making love without any emotional restraint. After they're done, James still seems sad. Ruby hugs him and comforts him. She then gets up and gets her journal. They write together the things that James likes to try to figure out what kind of dreams and goals James has. The scene goes back and forth between them writing and them walking around the Oxford campus and visiting a lake. James likes a lot of things, like sports, music, drawing, and most importantly, he likes Ruby. This makes Ruby blush. The scene cuts to Ruby in the interview room for the third round. The interviewer is asking her questions, but she seems to be daydreaming. Finally, Ruby opens her mouth and, without any signs of nervousness, answers the questions splendidly. Meanwhile, her other friends and James are also done with the third round. Cyril and Keshav are seen walking out together. Keshav is a bit sad because of the tension between him and Alistair. Meanwhile, Lydia is seen sending a voice message to her mom, telling her that she has good news for her. Ruby is ready to leave for home after the interview rounds are done. Before she can get on the bus, James gives her lots of kisses. Ruby gets on the bus and arrives at her loving home. After entering the house, she can't see anybody downstairs, and then her eyes go to the new stair lift. After getting upstairs, she can see her dad lying in bed with her mom and sister. She jumps on the bed with them. Meanwhile, Lydia and James have also arrived at their house. The house staff tells them that Mortimer is waiting for them inside. After they go inside, Mortimer tells them to sit down, but James doesn't care. Mortimer then informs them that their mother had a stroke. James and Lydia are shocked and ask how she is now and, most importantly, where she is now. Mortimer then breaks it to them that their mother is no more. Hearing this, James can't speak, and Lydia breaks down. But James asks him why he didn't inform them before. Mortimer gives the excuse that he wanted them to do well in their interviews. Mortimer then starts talking about business with someone over the phone. This pisses James off, and he jumps on Mortimer and starts beating him up. Percy manages to pull him away. James leaves the house furious. He goes straight to Ruby's house. From the window, he can see inside that Ruby is enjoying her time with her family. Even though they're not loaded with money like him, they are definitely loaded with love. James starts bleeding from the nose, and he right there decides that he will now follow his dreams and the roads that'll lead him to Ruby. That's how the series ends, with a big cliffhanger. To watch more explanations of these kinds of series, click on the videos on your screen. And don't forget to let me know how you feel about today's video in the comments down below. And at last, thanks for watching.